Greatness. Everybody wants to be great in this world. Some want to attain greatness through wrong ways, dubious ways. They want to attain greatness by hurting others. They want to attain greatness by speaking ill of others. Others want to attain greatness starting from the grassroots. They want to attain greatness from below, from the knees, actually. And when Jesus is admonishing his disciples about what they've been discussing on the way, he wants them to understand the difference between true greatness and greatness. That true greatness should start from below. His point is to help them understand that what they should seek in their life is true greatness and not just greatness. Because if they seek greatness, they might as well attain it through ways that are not so good. But if they seek true greatness, they are going to have that true greatness starting from below, from the knees. Greatness and true greatness. What are you running after? What is it that you seek in your life? Of course, greatness or some form of greatness is a very sought for commodity in this world because it gives you some sense of security. It gives you some sense of comfort. When you are among people that refer to you as great, that in itself makes you feel something important, something significant. And if you're not careful, you might even transition from greatness to being a boss, to being authoritative. And Jesus is helping us today to understand that if we truly want to be great in our life, to be great is not wrong. But if we truly want to be great, then the starting point should be the knees. The starting point should be servantship. The starting point should be from below. So that from that position of lowliness, our greatness already begins to be evident. As Jesus and his disciples are passing through Galilee, and he's conversing with them, he's talking to them about his impending death. He's talking to them about the suffering that awaits him. The disciples are not even paying attention because there's something that is preoccupying their minds. There's something that is taking away their attention from the teaching that is giving them as they are walking to whatever that thing is that is preoccupying their minds. So Jesus is busy preaching, busy teaching, but they're not even listening. Because at this point, they think his teaching is not important. What is important is this particular item, this particular thing, which they have to discuss among themselves. And Jesus knows what is happening. He knows what is going on around them. So when they reach Capernaum, he sits them down and is asking them, what were you discussing on the way? First of all, they are shocked that he knows that they were discussing something which they shouldn't have been discussing because they were supposed to be paying attention to his teachings about his suffering and death. So first of all, they are shocked. They even did that a bit. They wire a bit to give a response to that question. So he knows that we were discussing something else, something different. Instead of paying attention, he knows that we were talking about something totally different from what he was teaching us. Then he tells them, I know that you were discussing greatness, that you were arguing among yourselves who should be great. Maybe as he is talking about his impending suffering and death, they know that is not going to be there anymore. And so they have to already begin to preoccupy their minds with who is going to be leader among them, who is going to be great among them, who is going to take up that position of leadership. Since Jesus is about to leave them, he's about to disappear from their presence. So who is worthy of that position? Who is going to take up that that responsibility of being a leader. And so they discuss greatness. And Jesus is taking this opportunity to teach them about now the importance of humility. He's shifting from talking about his death, talking about his suffering, to talking about humility. He takes this occasion, takes this opportunity as opportunity to talk about the importance of humility. Because you cannot be great, you cannot assume that position of greatness if you're not starting from below, if you're not starting from your knees. And he says, if you want to be great, you have to be the least of everybody else. You have to be a servant of all. How many of us are ready to attain greatness in that manner? How many of us are ready to be recognized as great from a lowly position? Not many of us. Because our conception of greatness is pomp. Our conception of greatness is being this powerful person. And this powerful person cannot start from below, cannot start from the knees. This powerful person should be riding a powerful horse. This powerful person should already be seen with the crown of kingship. This powerful person should have all subjects around him, giving orders to one and giving orders to another. This is our conception of greatness. But Jesus says that is not true greatness, because true greatness starts from below, starts from being a servant. You have to be ready to wash the feet of other people. You have to serve the people, the least in the community, the least members of the community. You have to be a servant of those if you want to be recognized as a great person. That is what true greatness is. And that is what you and I should be running after. In order to augment his teaching about humility, Jesus uses the image of a child. He brings a child close to him and he says to his disciples, whoever receives a child or somebody as small as this child receives me. But you don't just receive me, you also receive the one that sent me. That you have to condescend to the level of a child, to bring yourself down to the level of somebody who is as small as this child, to accommodate somebody who is as small as this child, as vulnerable as this child, as poor as this child, as helpless as this child. Bring yourself down to the level of the character, the image of this child, if you want to be recognized as great. Of course, Jesus is referring to a child as just an image. He is using a language that is figurative. He's talking about those in the community that we want to consider as powerless, those that do not have a voice to speak for themselves, those who have no status to talk about, if you like, those who do not have any title in our society, in our communities. Those are represented by this child that Jesus brings before his disciples. And he's telling us, he's saying, receive such people, accommodate such people, give them importance, give them significance where you are. And when you do that, you do not just accommodate me, but you also accommodate God the Father who sent me. Greatness has to start from below. Greatness has to start from accommodating those that are small in our society, those that are insignificant in our society, those that do not have anything to give, those that we consider as good for nothing. Greatness has to do with you giving space to those in your life, not stepping on their because they are already fallen, they are already down there. And if you begin to lord it over them, then what you are seeking is not true greatness. It is just greatness. It is just some kind of greatness that is of this world. But Jesus says, accommodate those. Give them space in your life. Let them feel important in your presence. That is what true greatness is. Whoever wants to be great has to be a servant of all. When Jesus talks in this manner, he's also talking to those that are already in positions of leadership. Those that are in positions of leadership in the church, but also in the civic world. Within the church, we do have leaders. Just, you cannot have a community that does not have any form of leadership. Could be a religious community or a secular community, religious society or a secular society. Any form of society, community, or group of people, there has to be some kind of leadership there. And that is how we organize ourselves as human beings, whether in religious circles or not. We organize ourselves in that manner, that there's going to be a person of reference, a point of reference, somebody that we're going to submit to as our leader. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, Jesus is not even speaking against having somebody as a leader, but he's talking about the quality of leadership. If you are that person that is a point of reference, a point, or one who has a position of leadership in that community of human beings, if you are that person, what quality of leadership do you have? And that is the point that Jesus is helping us to understand. The quality of leadership. Sometimes when we assume these positions of leadership, some of us think we are on top of the world, that we become bosses. Everybody has to bow to us. Now we are that important. Everybody has to address us by the correct titles. Everybody has to talk to us in that particular manner. If somebody does not follow that particular manner to address us, that person is going to be punished. Maparishes nkumakarati parish priest ku church ku parish sibaziba but kubungwe kuchitente, the leaders kuchitente bali kaka abantu vini kumanga bantu masacrament bacha person bachitente bali kaka omuntu masacrament imota mufiro kulapoka imo. The parish priest doesn't know, because that chairperson in that smokeson community is very powerful. Bali mukako omuntu ayire kokupokali bamayo chita mpokero karistia yo mkwai ba chairperson kuchitente bali nkaka ali mikaka bacheya kwati mwirapoka karistia emkwai, because that chairperson is very powerful. Imaba mayo mwaba tata uniform mwirafwala eba cheya abo kuchitente mwirafwala uniform nkamyeba ile mkatampo kufwala, because the chair is very powerful. He can even go that way. Kwati mwirafwala bali kaka abantu mwirafwala chishi mulefwalira tamwaishire simuna bwere kupaja permanent na endela odwala ku chipatala kapena paja permanent nali so imwe na mikaka ba parish priest tabaishwa ku church kanshi muchitente abantu bali de kokufwala uniform ya aksho mwirafwala, uniform ya sentana mwirafwala, uniform ya joake mwirafwala bali bakaka kuliba chairman ngate ba chairman maybe ba disciplinary committee. Some of these disciplinary committees in these bungwes and they are very powerful nchikanga baka kena father abambo zaku mangani masacrament disciplinary committee, because they are the disciplinary committee. You know, our duty is to ensure that there is discipline. Of course, you are the disciplinary committee. Your duty is to ensure there is discipline. Yeah. But how want nchikanga father bamukake. And so we become, like that when we assume positions of leadership. Jesus is saying, be as small as a child. In your execution of duty as a leader, bring yourself down. Understand the people, feel what people are feeling. No, imwe simumaleta chani ati tamuleta omutulo, tamulipira omutulo. So look at stia mwirapoka. You don't even, first of all, you have no authority, you have no simunga mange muntu masakramenti etimuka kyo muntu kumsakramenta, first of all. But also you don't understand why that person is not able to pay umutulo. Maybe this person does not have the means anymore. So since you don't want to get into the world of that person to understand their situation, imwe since you are a leader therefore kukakafye na mukaka imwe muilapoka in sacrament na maka yakukaka abantu ku sacrament mwakwata to begin with. So people become bosses. They become this big such that everybody has to be bowing to them. Within the church, people become bosses. Jesus is saying, be as small as a child. Be open enough to accommodate the least member of that community, the smallest member of that community, the poorest member of that community. Be open enough to accommodate such a person. Leadership in the world also, in the civic world, Jesus is saying, be a servant of all. We see what happens before elections. And it's not everyone, by the way. I have to do a disclaimer. It's not everyone. But some of those that come to seek the people's votes, okay? First of all, all of them are very humble. All of them. They are very humble. They will come and kneel before you. If you just vote for me, you see, your lives are going to change. Just give me that vote. As they are saying that, no kufukama na bafukama. We see these things during campaigns. They are very humble. They will answer everybody's phone call. Doesn't matter who you are. They will answer your call. They will even call you honorable Kada. Yes, what can you feel very important. Yeah. But you see what happens after people get into those positions. And again, I'm saying it's not everyone. Some are still very humble. I know some of those politicians who are still very humble, who can still answer your call. Phone call, and some are still that humble. But there is that other portion. Just after they go into that positions, numbers bachinja, bamivika na mponi ku blacklist, na mponi kushani, so that you don't bother them. You become a problem to be avoided. You don't bother them. When they come, whenever they come, when they come to where you are, they look at the security detail that they come with. They will come with a security detail that not even that will compete with the security detail of the president. All of a sudden, their life is in danger. They can't move around without that security detail. Already you begin to see aspects of pomposity in their life. Jesus is saying, bring yourself down, be a servant of all. Bring yourself down, be humble. Just as humble as you were when you were seeking people's votes, still be humble. Pick those phone calls. Let people know that they are still important in your life. Brothers and sisters, today Jesus wants us to continue reflecting on the value of humility, on the importance of humility in our lives. Jesus wants us to value humility because humility is the only virtue that identifies us with God. God who came down and lived with us, such humility that God, big as he is, great as he is, came down to be in this human form, lived with us, ate our food, cried with us, experienced everything that we experience, but without sin. God who expressed humility in that manner. When we express humility in that way, we become godly ourselves, because that is divine humility. And divine humility is what gives us true greatness. We pray for ourselves that indeed we may be great. Not great in the eyes of the world, in the eyes of the people, but great in the eyes of God. And greatness in the eyes of God begins from the knees, begins from below. You cannot climb the tree from the leaves, as they say. You have to start from below, start from the point of lowliness. And that is what Jesus is asking us today. Start from the point of lowliness if you want to climb that tree. But when you also get to the top of the tree, don't look at those that you leave behind as unimportant, as insignificant, as good for nothing. Because then you transition from humility, from true greatness, to being a boss and to being authoritative. And that in itself drives you away from divine humility. Amen.